$1.4 trillion is coming to construction. Into 5 specific areas. And if you understand where the entire economy is heading. This is the story of those 5 areas and why they matter. Let's zoom out for a quick second. Since the mid-1970s, roughly 1974, most of the capital that used to go into construction moved away. It moved into derivatives, into notional value, into stocks, into boring financial products that frankly I barely understand or give 2 craps about. But one country did it differently. They didn't move their capital into financial products, they built. They invested in factories, power grids, infrastructure. You see, while they were building real things and real assets, the West was trading pixels. So while China and India were building capacity, the West was tied up in financial markets. But for the first time in a long time, that's finally changing. You're seeing it in the data. Manufacturing confidence, the PMI, is moving up. That's a leading indicator. You're seeing it in policy. Governments are talking about rebuilding energy infrastructure, and you're seeing it in the capital markets. Capital is actually flowing back. But here's the key. This isn't a general construction boom. This is a capital flowing into 5 specific areas where demand is so clear, so standardized that the constraint isn't money anymore. It's whether we can actually build it fast enough. Patrick Hellerman runs Fundamental, one of the biggest venture capital firms in the world focused on what he calls the project economy. But for the purposes of this video, let's just call it construction. He recently identified exactly where this capital is flowing. Factories are coming home. For decades, we built our factories in Asia. Now that is reversing. Europe is building manufacturing capacity at home, and the amount of manufacturing happening overseas is being cut in nearly half. In 2 to 3 years, you're going to see a completely different manufacturing landscape in Europe. And here's the early signal. The manufacturing PMI, which is basically a tool or a signal that surveys factory bosses on how confident they are, is climbing. And confidence comes first. If companies feel good, then they commit to expansion and ultimately they build. Confidence up means capacity expansion, and capacity expansion means construction. Data centers are the same story, if not more extreme. 500 billion of capex being added to global construction capacity. But here's the problem. We're running into major constraints. Who is actually building these things? Not the money, not the demand, the people on the ground with shovels and cranes. We're reconfiguring our energy mix and the infrastructure demand is skyrocketing. We're investing about 1.4 trillion into renovating our transmission and distribution lines. That's not a projection. That's capital already committed that governments have signed off on. Utilities are planning and the money is moving right now. Here's what that means. Populations are consolidating. People are moving to fewer, larger cities. And when that happens, everything has to scale. Water systems, sewage systems, roads to handle the traffic, power grids to handle the load. And on top of that, you've got climate resilience, infrastructure that can withstand what's coming. Dense cities need dense infrastructure, and that infrastructure needs to be built now. Governments, development banks, private investors, they're all betting big on this because they know where people are moving and they know what those places need. Finally, you have defense infrastructure. Europe is building out its defense capabilities, new military installations, bases, infrastructure, and so on. This is driven by geopolitical shifts and the need to strengthen the defense posture. This capital is flowing into infrastructure that supports national security and military operations. So you've got 5 areas, hundreds of billions in capital and demand that is clear and standardized. But here's what makes this actually interesting and why capital is flowing so aggressively. The constraint isn't money, the constraint is supply, also known as the ability to actually keep up with the demand. Think about a construction project's main costs. What actually moves the needle? About 35 to 40% of construction costs is labor. Another 35 to 40% is the materials, 10% is the machines and the equipment, and then across all of it, you've got money, financing, working capital, and everything else. Now, everyone is talking about software revolutionizing construction, automation, AI, better workflows, design software, risk management software, blah, 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 and I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times before. But when you look at the actual profit and loss statement of a construction project, software is around 2%. That's why the productivity gap in construction doesn't close with better software. What shows up in the project cost is labor cost, material cost, and machine cost, also known as atoms. And that's exactly why these 5 demand drivers, reindustrialization, data centers, energy and civil infrastructure, and defense infrastructure, are attracting capital so aggressively. They require you to move labor, materials, machines, and money in a massive, standardized way. That's what investors are looking for. And Patrick calls this standardized demand. When demand is standardized, when every customer wants roughly the same thing at roughly the same scale, that's when you can build solutions against it. The solutions have to address real supply constraints, real problems that move cost, speed, or quality at scale. If you're in construction, this is your moment. The amount of work is massive. Data centers, energy infrastructure, reshoring, civil projects, defense projects, and so on is happening right now. Capital is moving, the demand is clear, and we know exactly what needs to be done. And the window is narrow because everyone knows it's happening. The ones who win will be the ones who actually address the fact that we can't keep up with the demand in a way that moves the dial. That might be robotics on site, prefabrication, logistics, materials innovation, workforce solutions, but it has to touch one of these 5 areas. It has to address standardized demand, and it has to actually move the needle on cost, speed, or quality at scale. If you're thinking about founding a construction startup or investing in one or building something that serves construction, this is the context you need. The money, the demand, and the constraint is real. Now, I want to be clear about what this is and what this isn't. This isn't a boom that suddenly fixes everything. It won't solve unemployment. It won't fix the economy. Data centers and reshoring creates jobs, yes, but they're aimed at 5 specific demand drivers, not the world's biggest problems. Because here's what actually just happened. For 50 years, the smart money said the future was financial. Pixels over atoms, derivatives over factories, trading over building. It was cool to go into finance. If you wanted to be rich, you went into finance, not construction. But, and it's a big but, that bet is finally reversing. For the first time in half a century, capital is flowing back to the people who actually build things. And the only thing standing between that money and what it once built is whether we can physically build it fast enough. For 50 years, the people moving atoms were an afterthought. Now they're the constraint. And the constraint is exactly where the money goes. If you build, this is the best tailwind you'll get in your career. And the question for you is whether you move while the window is open.